Listen up, you spineless slugs! She barked, her voice cutting through the murmur like a knife. We're not dealing with mere barbarians, we're dealing with humans. They're cunning, ruthless, and they don't play by our goddamn rules. If we sit on our asses and do nothing, they'll have us strung up by our entrails before the next cycle. Across from her, a Zeltron delegate stood up, his voice dripping with disdain. Oh, spare us the drama, Lynn. Your fear-mongering is as pathetic as it is kitsch. Humans? They're savages on a blue speck. They pose no threat unless provoked. The chamber of the Galactic Council was a cold, stark dome, carved from the meteoric iron that had once sailed through the cosmos as aimlessly as the opinions now volleying across its expanse. Ambassador Lin stood solid against the barrage of skepticism and mockery from the assembly, her stature undiminished by the disdain she faced. Today, we stand on the brink, Lin declared, her voice a calm force in the rising storm. The representatives fell silent, the previous hum of discord quieting down. A new species, the humans, reach out with hands that could either craft peace or wield war. Do not underestimate them based on your prejudices. A Zeltron delegate, draped in the ceremonial red of his warrior race, stood, his tone laced with mockery. Oh, spare us the melodrama, Lin. Humans? Those primitives on that watery rock? They have split the atom, ventured into our domain, and sent their machines beyond their solar system, Lin retorted sharply, her gaze piercing the delegate. They play with powers they barely understand, and that, my friends, is what makes them dangerous. Dangerous or merely reckless? Another voice chimed in, silky and smooth, the delegate from a civilization of scholars and historians. Both, Lin responded without missing a beat. And what is recklessness in the hands of power but a prelude to disaster? We propose surveillance, not intervention. Watch them, understand them before we engage. General Crix of the Zeltrons laughed, a sound that rumbled like thunder across the chamber. Surveillance? We are warriors, not voyeurs. If these humans pose a potential threat, we should meet it with strength, not spyglasses. Lin's stance was resolute, her next words meant to cool the heated spirits. And would you rush into a nebulous storm without understanding its nature? We must not provoke what we do not understand. Not yet. But the Zeltron was unmoved. Fear breeds inaction, he countered with a sneer. And inaction breeds defeat. We will assess these humans ourselves if the Council is too craven to act. The chamber erupted into chaos, with multiple species voicing their concerns, some calling for calm, others for action. Lin's voice rose above the cacophony, strong and clear. To ignore this warning is folly. We risk not only the wrath of one planet but the safety of the entire galaxy. As the assembly descended into bickering, Lin's eyes met those of General Crix across the room. The Zeltron's gaze was full of challenge, his decision clear. He would not heed the Council's warnings. The session concluded with a tension that hung thick like the atmosphere of a gas giant. Delegates filed out, leaving Lin staring out into the cosmic panorama displayed beyond the Council's dome. Stars twinkled back, indifferent to the squabbles of civilizations. In the cool, expansive halls of the United Nations on Earth, Zara Thal paced before a wall of windows overlooking the sprawling city below. Today, she wasn't just Earth's top military strategist, she was its first line of defense. The Zeltrons, under the guise of extending an olive branch, had landed with pomp and a parade of deceptive promises. General Crix, resplendent in his ceremonial armor that glinted menacingly under the artificial lights, was in the midst of his welcoming speech to the assembly of Earth's leaders. In the spirit of universal fraternity, we come to share knowledge and strength, he declared, his voice echoing through the chamber. His words were smooth, his demeanor confident. Let this alliance be the bedrock on which we build not just a new chapter, but a whole new history. Zara, standing off to the side, exchanged a look with her deputy, Commander Pike. They both knew too well the weight of polished lies. As applause filled the room, Zara leaned in and whispered, "Keep your friends close, and your potential enemies closer." Start the surveillance. I want eyes on them every moment they're here. Already in motion, Pike replied with a subtle nod, his gaze darting to the discreetly placed cameras that dotted the room. As the formalities concluded, Zara approached General Crix with a practiced smile. General, perhaps you'd like a tour of our facilities? We're eager to demonstrate our advancements in peacekeeping technologies. Crix's eyes narrowed slightly, a flicker of interest crossing his sharp features. A splendid idea, Commander Thal. Lead the way. The tour took them through the high-security zones of the military complex, where Earth's latest defense technologies were on display. Zara's narrative was carefully curated, revealing just enough to seem open while concealing the true capabilities. Crix made several pointed inquiries, each deflected with finesse by Zara, who was more than familiar with the dance of diplomacy that masked the probing for weaknesses. At the heart of the complex, in a room that simulated battle scenarios, Crix paused. Impressive, he mused, eyeing the holographic displays that illustrated various conflict outcomes. But are your people ready to apply such theories under real pressure? Our readiness is not defined by simulations, but by the resolve of our people, Zara responded coolly, her eyes not leaving Crix's. We hope never to prove it, but we are prepared for all eventualities. The general smiled thinly, his gaze lingering on a map detailing troop deployments. Preparation is prudent, he agreed. One never knows when theories might need to become actions. Later, back in her office, Zara reviewed the surveillance feeds, her eyes sharp for any slip or reveal. The recordings from Crix's visor cam, hacked discreetly during his entrance, offered a view of his perspective. He seemed particularly interested in the locations of their air defenses. Pike, highlight this section, she instructed, pointing to the screen. Enhance the audio. I want to know what he murmured to his aide. The enhanced audio revealed more than just casual observations. Crix was quietly noting structural vulnerabilities and response times. It was exactly what Zara had suspected but hoped to be wrong about. They're planning something, and it's not a partnership, Zara concluded, her voice grim. Let's tighten our security protocols and prepare for a council meeting first thing in the morning. This alliance might soon test our readiness in ways we hope to avoid. Dawn crept silently over the military training grounds near San Francisco, where the joint exercises were to take place. Zara Thal observed from an elevated command post, her eyes fixed on the field below where human and Zeltron forces began to assemble in a display of supposed camaraderie and shared strength. Commander Pike stood beside her, reporting last-minute security checks. Perimeters are secure, and all units are on high alert, Pike confirmed, handing her a digital pad with live data feeds. Let's keep it that way. We can't afford any surprises, Zara murmured, her gaze never leaving the troops. As the sun rose higher, the exercises commenced. Human and Zeltron soldiers maneuvered through a series of tactical operations designed to simulate a defense against a common enemy. Zara watched intently as General Crix, flanked by his elite guards, surveyed the operations. His interest seemed particularly piqued whenever human technology was demonstrated. Midway through the exercises, as a human squadron executed a complex maneuver involving drones and ground forces, Zara's headset crackled to life. Commander Thal, we have an anomaly, the voice of her tech operator buzzed in her ear. Report, Zara responded instantly. There's an unauthorized signal burst detected. It's subtle but could be an override command for the drones, the operator informed. Isolate and trace it. I want the source now, she ordered, her voice low but sharp. As the tech team scrambled to pinpoint the signal's origin, the field below erupted into chaos. The Zeltron troops, breaking formation, turned their weapons on the human forces. It was a betrayal executed with chilling precision, but Zara was not wholly unprepared. Execute countermeasure Sigma, she commanded into her comm link. Preemptively installed overrides kicked in, and several drones abruptly changed course, swooping down to disrupt the Zeltron ranks. Simultaneously, hidden artillery units, forewarned by Zara's suspicions, came to life, targeting the Zeltron positions identified beforehand as strategic threats. General Crix, realizing his initial plan had faltered, signaled his troops to regroup. His eyes found Zara's in the command post, a flash of anger or perhaps respect crossing his features. In the ensuing standoff, with Zeltron forces momentarily stalled and human troops rallying, Zara seized the moment to initiate negotiations. She stepped out into the open, her figure unmistakable against the backdrop of halted warfare. "General Crix, this exercise is over," she called out, her voice amplified across the field. "Consider your next moves very carefully." General Crix, maintaining his composure, approached under a temporary white flag. "This was a test of capabilities, Commander," he said smoothly as they met halfway. "It seems we both have our answers." "Tests like these can start real wars, General," Zara retorted, her eyes steely. "Or they can end potential ones. It depends on what we do next." In the silent expanse of Earth's orbit, Ambassador Lin's vessel, the Harmony, hovered like a vigilant sentinel. Inside, the tension was palpable as Lin prepared to intervene in a conflict that had escalated far beyond a simple military exercise. "Bring me the latest deployment stats and open a channel to both fleets," Lin commanded, her voice resonant with authority as she surveyed the holographic displays showing the positions of the human and Zeltron forces. Her aide, a calm Solarian named Kiev, nodded and worked his controls, the screens flickering as data streamed in real time. "Channel open, Ambassador," Kiev announced. Lin straightened, her image now broadcasting to every ship in both fleets. "This is Ambassador Lin of the Galactic Council. I am here under the directive of peace enforcement. Cease fire immediately and prepare for parley." Her words, firm and clear, seemed to ripple across space. The skirmishes dwindled as ships powered down their weapons. General Crix appeared on the screen, his expression tight with barely concealed frustration. "General, this was a reckless act," Lin said, addressing him directly. "You have not only breached galactic law but risked a war that could consume the galaxy." Crix's response was curt. "Ambassador, we took necessary actions to ensure our security. We believed the humans to be plotting." "Enough," Lin cut him off. "Your actions have endangered countless lives and peace itself. We will resolve this here and now." Switching the communication channel, Lin then addressed Zara Thal, who appeared on screen, her demeanor calm but wary. "Commander Thal, can we count on your cooperation to de-escalate this situation?" Zara nodded firmly. "We have no interest in further bloodshed, Ambassador. We are prepared to negotiate, provided the Zeltrons are held accountable for their aggression." "Understood," Lin replied, her gaze shifting back to General Crix's feed. "General, stand down your forces and prepare for a summit. I expect full cooperation." Though clearly displeased, Crix gave a terse nod. "We will comply for now." The next hours were a blur of diplomacy as Lin orchestrated the delicate talks between Earth and the Zeltron delegation aboard the Harmony. The conference room was a microcosm of the galaxy's diversity, with representatives from various planets witnessing the tense negotiations. Discussions were fraught with accusations and defenses, but slowly, under Lin's guidance, a framework for resolution began to emerge. She proposed a joint oversight committee to investigate the incident and ensure transparency in future military activities, a suggestion that both parties warily accepted. "The path to trust is long and arduous, but it begins with steps like these," Lin stated, addressing the assembly. Her voice carried not just authority but a plea for reason. "Let this be a step towards a more stable future, not just for Earth and Zeltron but for all civilizations under the Council's aegis." The Great Hall of the United Nations had been transformed overnight into a beacon of galactic diplomacy, where the light of chandeliers met the glow of holograms displaying star maps and peace treaties. It was here that Zara Thal and Ambassador Lin, along with leaders from various civilizations, gathered for a historic summit. The air was charged with cautious optimism. The recent skirmishes had exposed vulnerabilities and opened dialogues previously unimagined. Zara, standing beside Lynn at the podium, surveyed the diverse assembly. Each face reflected a world, a story, and now, a shared future. Today, we aren't just drafting a treaty, Zara began, her voice resonating with a blend of resolve and hope. We are forging a new path that our children will walk, a path of cooperation and enduring peace. Nods of agreement rippled through the crowd. Even the stoic General Crix, his expression softened by recent events, seemed contemplative, his gaze fixed on the human commander. Lynn took the stage, her demeanor embodying the gravity of the moment. Let this treaty be a testament to what we can accomplish when we choose dialogue over conflict, she declared. The Galactic Council will include human representatives, ensuring that all voices are heard and valued equally. This is not just an end to hostility, but a beginning of understanding. One by one, leaders came forward to sign the treaty, their signatures encoding a commitment to peace. Cameras flashed, capturing the momentous occasion, as each signature marked an end to old fears and the start of new possibilities. As the ceremony concluded, the delegates mingled, exchanging stories and promises. Zara and Crix found themselves away from the throng, their conversation tentative but genuine. I underestimated you, Commander Thal, Crix admitted, his tone lacking its usual edge. Your tactics were commendable. I see now that humans bring more to the galaxy than we anticipated. Zara smiled slightly. And we have seen that the Zeltrons are honorable. Misunderstandings have kept us apart, General. Perhaps now we can show the galaxy that strength doesn't have to come from dominance. Crix nodded, a gesture of respect. Perhaps we can, he agreed. In a quieter corner, Lynn watched the interactions with a deep sense of fulfillment. She knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges. The galaxy was too vast, its issues too complex for easy solutions. But today had shown that even the deepest divides could be bridged by mutual respect and shared goals. As the delegates began to disperse, Lynn approached Zara. Commander, your leadership today has opened many doors, she said warmly. Zara looked out at the dispersing crowd, her eyes thoughtful. It feels like we're stepping into the unknown, Ambassador. But I think we're ready for it. Yes, Lynn agreed, her eyes reflecting the starlight streaming through the tall windows. The galaxy is watching us, ready to learn from what we do next. Let's ensure it's a story of hope.